And we're back after a very brief commercial break. The other side of these pieces. This one is Morticia's Boudoir, and this is that really cool, depending on how you use it, it's kind of an art deco kind of a pattern, and we only had this much of it. We're going to turn these around. What we basically wanted here was what looks like one contiguous wallpaper layout using that fabric. And I think doing it all in that fabric would have been too busy. And so what we did was paint the wall a dark gray, and we're going to turn these around so the straight cut starts at the edge, comes over to a zigzag, and then there's what looks like a zigzag gray patch, and then a full-size segment of this, another zigzag gray patch. We'll turn this around so the straight side goes against there, and it'll look like a wallpaper pattern of zigzag solid gray, zigzag lines, zigzag solid gray, zigzag lines. And I can't back off enough here because the wall is here, but with the wainscot, and I'm doing that on purpose, saying wainscot and wainscot back and forth interchangeably. So it depends on who you talk to. But I'm going to put chair rail here, and we got a couple weird just prints from the internet. Points to you if you know what that is, and if you know what that is. But so that's sort of rounding out the decor. And then this is where Tassel hangs, and he's like a Looney Tunes kind of a character in the show. No speaking, a lot of sight gags. Has a love affair with Cousin It, which is also just a tall, shaggy pile of hair with a bowler hat on. But this is Morticia's Boudoir, and then this curtain will be on a rod, and we're going to use magnets to stick it to the set, and so when it's not the boudoir, we'll take it right down, so when we use the set from this side we don't see the back of it. So we got trickery happening like that. These pictures are done with a French cleat as well. You can see the angle here and the piece on the wall. The piece on the wall will be painted in to match the wall and lost in that wallpaper, and obviously there'll be a picture in the frame. But this makes a nice way to do fast changes like this. You can just find the wall, slide down till it stops, and you know it's good to go. So we're going to do that with this frame as well. We just had wire because it is a real frame getting us through the day today. And there's a lower cleat here, and that takes this little tea service cabinet, because I want to we want some. Their house is a busy, eclectic place, but we can't easily put that out and bring it back, all those loose little pieces. This is hard to see, I guess. So what we'll do is hot glue down some bric-a-brac decor to a piece of furniture like this one, which is a real piece of furniture from my house. But it has, so we got like this weird thing and some other stuff, but it has the other side of the cleat here. And so you can come in with it pre-decorated and just go against the wall and slide down, and it'll basically hang, but only about a ½ inch off the floor. So then it's traveling with this set piece. And the other thing that makes this really cool is that, so we'll paint that in as well. So for some sets, some arrangements with these set pieces, it'll be gone. And for some arrangements it'll be there. For some arrangements it'll be an oval picture here on that cleat, and for some arrangements that'll be gone. And we've got a grandfather clock over here. Yeah, here it is. We were lucky to find this chintzy fake. It was never real. Oh geez, I don't know if I can use a flash here. Here, there we go. So we have a grandfather clock that's just like an old cabinet door and some knotty pine. And it doesn't have hands on it. It's just kind of a chinso thing. But I put a cleat on this, so this will hang in place of that oval picture. So again, for some arrangements or I want another word, but you know, for some of the ways that we put these set pieces together, the grandfather clock is out on that, and other times it's the picture, and that helps us diversify and get some magic if people are following that, or subconsciously just feels like we're moving around the house. It couldn't be the same set piece. You know, how could it be? Or where'd the clock go? Or at least moving that stuff becomes a lot easier. Whoops, we're seeing all these dust motes because the flash was still on, so it's not on now. So that stuff is happening. Trying to make the most out of existing latches. When the stairs come up to this piece and down the other side, I'll have to put a latch top dead center on the top surface. I have no choice. We have these goblets. Oh, I guess one of them has a leak. These are chintzy plastic injection molded goblets that won't stay up. Instead of, they just keep falling over on the table constantly. So I'm backfilling them with some casting resin. I have a lot of different casting resin at the shop on hand. Most of it flashes over pretty quickly. I don't know why I bought the 327 at some point, but it takes like an hour to even flash and like 4 or 5 hours to cure. I'm normally in a hurry if I'm working on something. So I didn't mind basically giving this away to the production for the sake of filling, because it was going to be a lot of volume. Here was a lot of volume, but I filled the bottom of all these glasses, and tomorrow that'll be like a bone white. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be translucent amber. I forget. But it'll turn to a solid, and then they'll be really bottom heavy, which will help them stand up straight. And I won't mind, using all that up on there. So that was a good use for that. There's something we need to pay attention to here. We've got this great rolling door frame and this cool art glass. It's kind of deco, and we're going to do a couple of these smaller pieces of color and leave the top. I think maybe tinfoil is a good trick. You can use the not the glossier side, but the frostier side of tinfoil, applied with spray glue and smoothed out, and that looks like glass, and it catches the light the way glass does, but you can't see through it, and it's a lot cheaper than people try to use plexiglass, and that's always not a perfect plane. It always wanders around, so the highlights on it are all wiggly, and it just doesn't look right, and it's heavy and expensive. Really expensive in big pieces. So applying tinfoil will give you that glass look, but the problem that we have is that doors open into a home, and so since we're inside, in terms of our set, this is the side that we need to be looking at and have finished to look like art glass. Come to find out that the butler lurch has to open the door. You want to pay attention to the way the doors swing so that it looks natural. So we're going to have to take these out and flip them and point them that way. No big deal, but that's the type of thing we want to keep an eye out for. It's like the devil's in the details, And that wallpaper. I don't know if I ever... Yeah, I talked about the wallpaper in the other video. Tassel, I said he hangs here. I can show you Tassel and how we did that special effect. And it's out here on the props table. Let's see here. This is where Thing is, too. Just got to give Adam Krutinger, a friend of mine, a shout out. He built us, he had built a Thing. Thing is the hand character. He had built a Thing before for another show, and it was more of a realistic zombie hand kind of a style with a bone coming out the wrist, and we wanted more of a classic Thing style. And his also was true to just this part that fits the human hand here to the ends of the fingers here, and that kind of made him have kind of like toe fingers. When you add that much thickness, it's almost like a winter glove. There isn't a lot of daintiness left in the finger. So I asked him on ours, I said, can you throw some extensions and stuff on there? And so these look really good. We're going to use Thing in several places to like open the main curtain and hand people things and do a bunch of sight gags. If I could just get him on my hand here, he's great. And those little turned up tips give him that little, like again, Warner Brothers, or that's Hanna-Barbera, I beg your pardon, xylophone kind of look to him. And he seems very styled and dynamic, because of the way that his fingers lay and stuff. That's how we draw in animation or illustration, daintiness. And so you want to capture that. So we had this kind of constructed to that spec. And big ups, like I said, to Krutinger Puppets. Addams a friend of mine, and I didn't have the time for these. I was able to order them up. I will be spraying them with creature cast rubber, which is like a latex alternative. It's not a natural rubber, it's neoprene, so it will last a great long time and not break down from UV or oxidation. And it's water-based instead of ammonia-based the way liquid latex is. And so you can also split it 50-50 with acrylic paint. So I'll dye the batch and you can spray it. So I'll spray it, I'll dye that batch with acrylic paint to the point where it makes a flesh tone. And then I could paint it straight with acrylic paint, but I'll make more 50-50 creature cast and acrylic paint to do the paint job on him and to make him really sweet. And we'll be able to rent these out to other productions doing the show. And we had multiples, so we can have him appear here and then appear on, you know, far side of the stage, and just to have a lot of magic, and you know, and do that with having multiple hands. Maybe I could turn the flash on so you can see what we got here. But so these will come into a smoothness and a paint job that'll bring them in kind of for a landing there. And I've got crossbow that can be drawn and fired and makes a good sound, and I'm going to build into a rifle stock. So there's all these little small things at the end that start to be more like props, special props and stuff like that I end up having to do. But I get to do them. And here's our big family portrait that goes stage left, I want to say. Some other props. These are the type of things like this urn. Gosh, no light in here. This urn is awesome. It's the type of thing that'll get glued down as decor, and some other weird just portraits that are kind of in gothic frames will stick around, and some candelabras and stuff like that. Anything that's kind of in keeping with the visual motif. But like anything, it's, you know, the time involved in some of these things starts to really add up more and more and more as you do finer and finer work. And it's all for theater, so it doesn't even really need to be that finely finished, but it's still incredible how long it takes. But for now, thanks for watching. We'll see you.